head coach of TCU. Sonny Dykes is joining us now on the Diamond Factory Hotline. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing this morning?
Doing well, man. I went to do some research on you a couple days ago, and I see you everywhere. Have you just been flooded with all the media requests for TV, nationally, locally, and, of course, amazing local radio shows like this one?
Yeah, we have been busy here the last couple of weeks, but it's a great opportunity for myself and our players to sell our program. And so, we've enjoyed getting off to a fast start. We understand that things just get more difficult from here, but it's been fun. Our guys are playing well, and I'm really proud of what they've done so far. So,
Coach, we had Joey McGuire on a couple of weeks ago, and it seems like the local guys have been humongous stories, right? You get a lot of pub for Jimbo and Sark and Venables, but you were named as the new king of Texas football by Sports Illustrated. We're talking about Coach McGuire with those inroads in the state. Has that given you a big advantage with what you've been able to do through your career, and especially this year?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, certainly at SMU, going over there and being there for 4 years, having been from Texas, understanding the state of Texas from a recruiting standpoint, having a lot of relationships with high school coaches, just all that helps you get off to a faster start. We were fortunate at SMU to kind of get ahead of the transfer portal. We had 21 players that transferred over to us even before the implementation of the transfer portal. And those guys were really important to building our program. And most of those guys were homegrown DFW guys that had gone off someplace and wanted to come home and play close to home in front of their friends and family. So, you know how it is. There's a lot of different ways to figure out how to win. Every challenge is different. Every university's got different strengths and weaknesses. And we walked into a really good situation here at TCU. We had some good players, some guys that, have a lot of speed and can make big plays. And we just kind of had to move some pieces around to try to make it all fit together. And, so far so good.
It seems like the conference has got a little bit more solid footing than it did maybe, 2 months ago when, more realignment was being talked about. Was that a challenge in recruiting, dealing with the questions about the future of the conference?
Not as much as you would think. You never really know. I mean, I think, and we used to laugh about this all the time at SMU, but I think, half the kids we recruited just thought we were in the Big 12. You know what I mean? Just because, you're just a local school, and they're just, there's just so much to getting recruited and all that. And so, I don't know that a lot of these kids sit around and really look at the conferences or could tell you who's in the conference in a lot of cases. I think that, they're looking to go to some place where they feel comfortable, that, they think is going to develop them, and someplace you're going to get a great education and have a chance to graduate and win football games. And so sometimes I think the conference affiliation thing may be a little bit overdone, but I know this, it's good to be in the Big 12. I think the league is very good. When you look around the league, it's as solid as it's ever been. Kansas was the preseason number 10 pick in the league, and they're in the top 25, and they're one of the best teams in the country. And so there's no other league in college football that can say that they have that kind of parity. I mean, really, anybody can win the league. Anybody can win any game on any given Saturday. And so it makes the Big 12 a lot of fun.
Coach, how do you deal with and view the whole NIL storyline?
Well, I think it's about time that student athletes were able to capitalize on their, name, image, and likeness. To me, I know this. I mean, that we're going to have a sold-out crowd here on Saturday. They're not coming to see me. They're coming to see the players. And so, I always felt like that the most important part of the equation was getting left out in some ways. And so I think it's good for college athletics. I think it's good for the young people. Now, it's a little bit tricky right now. I think that there's so many legal issues and so much, technical stuff that it can be difficult. And you really hope that NIL kind of becomes what it's really supposed to be. You hope that some local businesses will say, I really believe in this program. I really believe in these kids. I want these kids to help advertise my product and represent my company. And you hope it kind of truly becomes that instead of some of these collectives and things. But
right.
at the end of the day, you've got to figure out, how to make it work for you and your program. And so, fortunately, we've got some strong boosters here at TCU that have really invested in some of our collectives, and our NIL stuff is in a really good place. But when you take NIL and you take the transfer portal and you put those two together, that's when it becomes, pretty crazy out there. And I think the transfer portal by itself is a great idea. I think NIL by itself is a great idea. I think the combination of the two at the same time makes it tricky.
Sonny Dykes, TCU coach, join us here, 105.3 The Fan. All right, when did you know that this team was a little bit different, like they had something a little special?
Well, we got through spring ball. We got out of spring, and we thought, hey, you know what? We've got some talent. We got to figure out how to get the guys in the right spot. And, we were having a quarterback competition at that time, and just try to say, look, whoever we go with, we got to make sure that we, change our offense to fit their strengths and stay away from their weaknesses. And so, we had such a good summer in the weight room. I can remember coming up and watching our team work out a little bit in July. And, they had a determined look about them. The guys had really started to invest in each other. You could kind of see the culture of the program starting to take root. And then we got into fall camp, and we thought, well, if we can stay healthy in fall camp, which we did for the most part, then maybe we can get off to a fast start. And so the good thing about us right now is, we had no preconceived notions at all what this team could do. We didn't stand up and say, hey, look, we're going to win the Big 12 championship, or we didn't stand up and say we're going to be lucky to go to a bowl game, or we didn't stand up and say we're going to be lucky to win 2 games. We said, hey, look, let's just put our head down, go to work, and see where that takes us. But I really do love the character of this team. I think the most important thing with young people today when it comes to having a good program is you got to have a collection of guys that really enjoy playing football, that are playing not for NIL, not for recognition. They're playing because they love the game. And this team really loves to play football. They love to practice. They enjoy working hard. And as I said earlier, they really are invested in each other, and that makes it fun.
Coach, describe the atmosphere, the energy from your fan base there in Fort Worth right now with the start that you've had, and what you think this thing is going to feel like on Saturday with this heavyweight fight.
Well, I know this is 2 good football teams, and it's and our fans are certainly excited. I think we could end up having the largest crowd in Amon G. Carter Stadium history. Oh. I know we're trying to get that done, and think we might have a chance to do that. Look, this is our stadium's a beautiful stadium. It's a great fan experience. Our students are really starting to get involved in not only the football program, but the basketball program, the baseball program, soccer. If you go to a soccer game, you're going to see 3,500 people. If you go to a basketball game, the students are going to sell out the place. And it's just an excitement here at TCU right now, whether it's football, whatever the sport may be, baseball, whatever it is, the student bodies just really supports the athletic department and the teams. And so, the student body is really what drives the excitement in the stadium. And so those guys are fired up and excited. And I know that they're looking forward to Saturday afternoon.
Coach, I saw a stat that since the start of 2019, your teams are a combined 26-2 before November 1st. Is there anything to that? Is there anything in your coaching approach that you think gives you an advantage to get off to a fast start, something you're doing in the offseason program, adjustments at the beginning of seasons, or is that just a random stat?
I think it's like most things. I think there's probably a little bit of truth in all of it. I know at SMU our schedule historically was a little bit back-end loaded rather. Yeah. And so we played some of the better teams in November. And we had to go on the road and play in some cold weather environments in November as well that made it a little bit more difficult for us. I think that's part of it. I think another part of it has been, starting fast is something that we really talk about all the time, whether it's our practice, the way we practice, whether it's our approach, in the weight room, whether it's our approach on Saturday afternoon, whatever it is, we think it's really important to get off to a fast start. And it's something that we preach all the time to our players, and I think it just carries over to them. Now, the one thing that we've got to do a better job of, obviously, when you look at that, is we got to do a better job in November. We got to do a better job of closing the season out. And so that's going to be a big challenge for us. But, for us right now, 100% of our attention, obviously, is focused to Oklahoma State what we're trying to do this Saturday.
How do you stop Spencer Sanders?
Well, he's a really good quarterback. I mean, he's just like most quarterbacks. You got to get him a little bit uncomfortable because if he can stand on his platform and deliver the ball, he can throw it as well as anybody. So we've got to pressure him. We got to move him around a little bit. We got to make him uncomfortable. We got to show him different looks because if you show him one or two looks, he'll pick you apart. They do a really nice job of mixing their offense, and they're very balanced between run and pass. Pretty remarkable. I think they've had 192 rushes and 192 passes. So they're as balanced as you can be, and so it's pretty crazy. They just do a nice job of managing their offense. They know what they're doing, and Spencer can also pull the ball down and run. They do a nice job of running him on third down, run him in the red zone some, run him on the goal line. When they need a big play, he pulls it down and runs. So the biggest thing I think is always trying to make the quarterback uncomfortable, trying to confuse him and make sure that he just doesn't get settled in and can just stand in the one spot and throw it.
I know they led the league in sacks last year, the nation in sacks. Are they just as good at rushing the passer this year?
They lead the nation right now in tackles for loss. Yeah, they're very aggressive defensively. They get a lot of push up front. They got really good defensive ends, guys that can run. They do a nice job pressuring you. They really do, and they've got some blitz packages where they take advantage of your weakness in some of your pass protections, and they do a really nice job of attacking you and have a lot of speed on defense.
How much pro football do you love and watch, Coach?
We don't get to watch much. Sunday is kind of one of the busiest days of the week for us. I'll watch a little bit on Thursday night. I've got a 6-year-old son, and he loves to watch football, and so anything that's on, we're going to watch it. So I would imagine we'll be watching a little bit of Baylor, West Virginia tonight, but also a little bit of whatever the NFL game is, and so I try to watch the teams where that I have players that I'm close to. Obviously I watch Kansas City every week because of Shane Buechele, or I try to watch them, try to pay attention to their scores because of Shane, and I'm interested in what they're doing, offensively. And then, Detroit because of Jared Goff. And then we had a bunch of guys at SMU. James Prochet has done really well, and now he's playing for the Ravens. I try to watch them every week. Danny Gray's with the 49ers. I try to keep up with the 49ers. So, you don't really get a chance to watch many games, but you try to kind of keep up with them, and especially keep up with the players you coach and you're close to. Now,
is it true that your son is DVRing and pre-recording college pregame shows to sit there and absorb all that information? And for a 6-year-old, I know that you're his dad, but does he have like a definite next level understanding of X's and O's?
Yeah, it's a little creepy, honestly.
How?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We'll watch a game sometimes, and he'll say some things like, "They're going to run it here on 3rd and 2 so they can get 4th and manageable." And you're like, "Okay." He just turned 6 last week, and so, or actually this week, turned 6 on Monday, and so he's young and he's got a pretty good understanding of what's going on, and just loves football and loves the strategy of it, and he watches everything he can watch. And so he learned to read by reading the scroll underneath ESPN every day.
So do you have
one of those guys?
Is there a pros and cons list waiting for you when you get home from the game where he's evaluating you?
Oh yeah. No, don't worry. He's always my worst critic. Both he and my wife. My wife's always like, what were you thinking? You went 4th down, and so, yeah, but my 2 daughters, they're the easiest because they don't really care that much.
I wanted to ask you this. I'm you brought up 4th down. I'm like a super go for it 4th down guy. Like, do you how does that work? Like on each series, are you like, if I get to 4th and 3, we're gonna go for it? I mean,
and how do you incorporate just analytics in general?
Yeah. Are you like super aggressive?
Yeah. We're a big analytics team. I mean, look, here's my take on analytics. I think that the numbers are the numbers, and they're the truth. Now, I think that you have to apply context to those numbers. You know what I mean? Because we subscribe to a service that does analytics for us, and it's a pretty neat thing. It takes all the data between the 2 teams, and it factors in, which team is a favorite and whether or not you're on the road, and it tells you everything from should you go for it on 4th down to should you go for 2 in these situations to just a lot of different things. And it's been something that we did. We started it 4 years ago at SMU when I was there, and thought it really paid dividends for us over there. And we certainly brought it here to TCU. And I think it's makes a lot of sense. And, you know, my inclination, I came up in the Mike Leach, Hal Mumme offensive era was, you know, I worked for those guys for a number of years, and they were some of the trailblazers when it came to going forward on fourth down. And, you know, there wasn't really any analytics at the time. They just felt like it gave us the best chance to win. And so we won probably some games that we shouldn't have because we were very aggressive. And now everybody's implemented it. You know, I watched a little bit of the Chiefs game Monday night, you know, and the Chiefs are down 1. They score a touchdown. Now they're up 7, and they go for 2. And you're kind of going, what in the world are they doing? Yeah. And the analytics actually tell you to go for 2. Now, for me personally, I would not have done that because now if Las Vegas would have made their 2-point try, which they missed, then Vegas could have won. You know, could have won the game. And so you just have to apply the analytics to the situation and what's going on, and then make the decision that you can live with.
Great answer. Yeah. Sonny Dykes, TCU here on Shan and RJ. Before we let you go, I have to do my family duty. My godson coach is 6'5", 190, junior receiver, can also play quarterback in Maryland. How do I get him over to your program or you to evaluate? Running low 4.5s. You know, if you like Kyle Pitts, you may be interested. How do I get it done?
Yeah, we definitely like Kyle Pitts. So yeah, easy. What I'll do here is I'll shoot you my cell phone number and just shoot me a text. Shoot me a text with his information, and we'll check him out.
Coach, I love you. I don't know if I can leave the Red Raiders yet, but I'm tempted. Peyton, put them on hold. Coach, in all seriousness, congratulations on the awesome start. Everyone's going to be watching 2:30. They're coming off back-to-back wins. Oklahoma, Kansas, and now it's going to be Oak State, 2:30 in Fort Worth. Coach, thank you so much.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.